Louis Farrakhan. All praises due to Allah. All praises due to Allah. Allahu Akbar. Allahu Akbar. Allahu Akbar. In the name of Allah, the Beneficent, the Merciful, I bear witness that there is no God but Allah, and that Muhammad is his messenger. I'm very happy to greet all of you, my dear brothers and sisters, with the greeting words of peace. Assalamu alaikum. I would like to take just a few moments of your time today. I did not intend to come out, but a few days ago, a thought came to me that I should like to share with you. As we attempt to run the race of life, Almighty God, Allah, has deposited within us, in our genetic makeup, certain qualities, characteristics, gifts. We, the original people of the earth, are born of God. So righteousness is natural for us, while evil is an unnatural reality in our lives that has become natural. The reason that evil has become a natural way of life is because Almighty God, Allah, for his own wise purposes, has given evil a chance to rule, to hold sway over the human family of the earth, but only for a season and for a very definite reason. We could not do evil if the germ of evil were not in our makeup. You cannot get out of something what is not in it. If we are doing evil, then you have to ask yourself, where did the evil come from? Now, we can blame white people for all the evil that is on the earth. And I think you would be very near correct, but not totally. Because the evil that they have manifested in us is from us. Now, the question that we have to wrestle with is the nature of God in us, the nature of truth, the nature of love, and then the opposite of that. God has created the universe in truth. So truth is the sustainer of the universe. The universe is nurtured on truth. The universe is maintained by truth. We are born of truth. So the only thing that can make us prosper is truth, yet we lie. Where does the lie come from? You can't say that white people taught us how to lie. They are indeed liars. But what is it in the nature of a young child that took some cookies that he was commanded by his parents not to take? And when mother discovered that the cookie was gone and questioned the child about the whereabouts of the cookie, the child said, "I don't know." "Did you take the cookie, Johnny?" "No, I wasn't near the cookie jar." Well, there was no Yakub teaching that little boy to lie. Something in the nature is compelling the child to tell other than the truth. Why? Because the child knows if it tells the truth, yeah, I took that cookie. In direct contravention to mother's instruction, mom may get the strap and my backside is going to be burning, and to avoid that catastrophe in my life, I'm going to lie about this thing, and I didn't take the cookie. So lying and telling the truth are a part of our own nature. Well, this is something to consider. They say God is love. What is the devil? Then the devil would be the opposite of love. It's a little deeper than that. Love, I'm using now Western meaning of this word. The word is so much deeper than the dictionary would have us understand. But for the purpose of what I'm about to say, I will use Webster's meaning. Love is an intense feeling of like for an object or person. Hate is an intense dislike. What we have is the same force in our being, but on the positive side, it demonstrates itself as an intense like for something, but on the negative side, it manifests itself as an intense dislike or disapproval of an object. But love and hate is the same emotion, only the negative side of it comes up with hate and the positive side comes up with love. God has all of these things right in his own nature. For God, of course, he does not lie. He could, but he doesn't need to. He is the truth. But God is creator, God is destroyer. See? The two opposite forces or manifestation of a force are in his very nature. So we as human beings can love and hate. We can heal and we can kill. Huh? We can do both sides of the equation. The question is what decision we make to govern ourselves by either the positive side of the nature or to be on the negative side of the nature. Once you start going toward the negative side of yourself, then you are moving toward becoming a devil of self. I'm going to say that again. It is not that killing is always a negative thing. Sometimes killing is positive. Here's a man that came up in the news trapping young men who were more than likely homosexuals, killing them, then dismembering them. Killing a man like that is a positive thing. Wouldn't you say so? Yes, that's a godly thing to do. You say, oh, Brother Farrakhan, please don't talk like that. But there's a godly aspect to killing. There's a godly aspect to all of the negative things that we call negative. There's a godly aspect to hatred. Because God himself hates, but God is not negative. But he hates falsehood. He hates evil. And what he hates, he moves to destroy out of his love for the truth and love for righteousness. Do you understand what I'm saying? If you have a daughter and you love your daughter and someone rapes your child, the emotion that comes up in us is to do what? Kill the rapist. Nothing wrong with that. That's the right way to feel. It's just that in a civilized society, we allow the law to handle it for us. So the law will say the state versus. So the state will take up our cry for justice. And a smart lawyer will get the rapist off so that our hearts are still aggrieved. No justice. In Islamic law, we don't allow a smart lawyer to get a criminal off. When we know you are the guilty party, we take the proper action. And that kind of justice makes your heart come back to repose or quiet. But when we are constantly victims of injustice and there is no means of adjudicating the wrong, then we swell up on the inside. And we can take a proper course to get justice, or we can allow the negativity of injustice to make us negative, so that we can become an evil person by looking at the evil done to us and then becoming what has happened to us. You didn't hear me. There's not a person in here that hasn't experienced some evil and given evil as an experience to somebody else, though most of us would not like to admit that that is the case. When someone does evil to us, our reaction to evil demonstrates either the righteousness of ourselves or that we now have become the thing that we are condemning. White people have a purpose on the earth, and they are more in harmony with their purpose than any black man on the earth is in harmony with his purpose. Or at least most black people. What is the purpose of white people? Their purpose was to try the human family with evil, to afflict the black, the brown, the red, the yellow, and even their own members with injustice and evil, to see whether evil is equal to good. Can evil produce the same results as good? Why else would God allow Satan to rule? To bring out of us things in our nature that we ourselves are not aware is there. Fire brings out what is hidden. If you want to know what a thing is composed of, put fire to it. Fire will break it right down, break up its form, and bring it right down to its basic elements. When you want to know what's in a human being, you apply fire to them. This book, Quran, teaches us that hell is meant for purification. God never intended for us to go to hell on any permanent base, but he has allowed us to enter into hell for very specific reasons. And that is to manifest to ourselves the weakness of self, that hell may purify us of a weakness that fire of hell has exposed to view. Now, brothers and sisters, this subject matter will cause us not so much to look at the open enemy, the Caucasian. He's an open enemy, not a secret enemy. But he works on us through weaknesses within ourselves that he discovers and uses to further his cause to our detriment. The white people are like sifters. You know, when you have a kernel of something and you put it in a sifter and you shake it back and forth, flour or whatnot, the thing that comes through the sifter is the thing you want to use. The thing that stays in the sifter is the thing you want to discard. Jesus said to Peter, the devil desires you, that he may sift you as wheat. What do you mean, Jesus? Satan wants to try you to see what you're made of. And as a man sifts another man, there are things that come through that you want to maintain. But in the sifter, you begin to see things that you wish to remove. Every teacher tries his or her students. You call it a test. What do you give your students a test for? You want to find out whether they've made their studies, whether they understand the principles involved, whether they can pass the test. God is like that too. Nobody comes to God without being tried. Nobody. Even the most beloved of God have to be tried by God in order for God to sift them and then exalt them after he purifies them. When God has chosen you, he's not sifting you to destroy you. I want you to hear me again. When God has chosen you, he will not try you to destroy you, but he will try you to manifest what is in you that he can't use. Then in the manifestation of our defects, then God has to separate that defect from us that we may come to him in a manner that he can use us. My subject today deals with the principle of hard trials being necessary to establish the truth. I want to say that again. Hard trials are necessary to establish the truth. When something is necessary, it is vital to the success of that thing. If we say that yeast is necessary in bread, then don't try to make bread without yeast. You will not get the right result because yeast is necessary. Trials are necessary. Not to know the truth. No. God will give you the truth, or you will find the truth, but to establish the truth, to make truth the yardstick by which we measure everything. To establish truth, it's going to take some hard trials. By whom? Hard trials by those who say they believe in the truth and want to see the truth established after they come to know the truth. Now look, Jesus said, "You shall know the truth, and the truth shall make you free." That's a powerful statement. Here's a human family. I'm speaking now specifically of black people, but in general, the whole human family, enslaved to false concepts and ideas, enslaved to the lower passions of self, enslaved to greed, to lust for power, enslaved by our inordinate desires. We need to know the truth, that the truth will make us free. Then somebody or bodies will be taught the truth, and their responsibility will be to teach the truth and to suffer what needs to be suffered in order that the truth will be established among the people. Now let me tell you, brothers and sisters, when Jesus said many are called, but just a few are chosen, and the race is not to the swift, but to those who can endure to the end, what do you think he's talking about? The moment you hear the truth and say, "I believe it," you use it to benefit yourself. But if you love the truth, you must be in harmony with the cause of the truth's revelation. What is the cause of truth? What is the reason why truth has come to us? It is our liberation. So the cause for which truth is being taught is for the liberation of black people and the liberation of the whole human family of the planet. But starting first with a very specific function, a very specific people who are most in need of liberation and most in need of truth. Jesus said to his disciples, "Go ye not in the way of the Samaritans, nor in the way of the Gentiles, but go ye to the lost sheep of the house of Israel," sending the disciples specifically with a mission to a people that have gotten lost. They are the lost sheep of the house of Israel. Israel here represents Jacob's people. Jacob in the Bible wrestled with the angel. And when he wrestled with the angel and prevailed, his name was changed from Jacob to Israel. Jacob's people, white people, all of their work is done under the name Israel. You and I were brought from Africa into the Western Hemisphere to live under white people and to be the possession of white people. Now you and I have become lost in the wicked way of white people. They brought out of us something that we didn't even know was in us. You can't make us a freak if freak is not in us. You can't make a man into a woman if woman is not in man. And you can't make a woman into a man if man is not in woman. Woman is in man and man is in woman. But the way we have gone about accentuating the feminine aspect of the male nature to make a man act like a woman, though he can never be a woman. This is perversion. This is an abomination in the sight of God. Huh? Any woman that wishes to be satisfied by another woman in a love relationship is not well. Because the nature of God is that he created the woman for the man and the man for the woman, not the woman for the woman and the man for the man. But when perversity like this has come up out of us, it is because there's something in us that we have not yet come to grips with. Otherwise, you can't make a homosexual. Are you listening to me? Yes, sir. Adultery is in us. That's how easy it is to bring it out. Brother, you see a fine woman that's not your wife. You may know she's married, but you work close to her on the job. And you make your little pitch. And she catches it. And if she's dissatisfied at home and vulnerable, you may say, "Oh man, this is all right, you know." Dissatisfaction leads to a change. You got a dissatisfied wife at home, brother. We got a door and a window ajar for adultery. You didn't hear me? You did? Close the window and lock the door. Because the worst thing for any man to feel is that his wife has been unfaithful to him. A woman feels the same way. Then when you are not taking care of your husband properly, somebody else will. Oh, make no mistake about it. There's too many women out here that don't have a man at all, looking for some dissatisfied husband that they can help to satisfy. So if you leave the door open for adultery, adultery will come in your house. Why? It's something in the nature of us. Yeah. So God can say, thou shalt not commit adultery, but there's a whole lot of stuff that got to go behind that. If you're serious about us not committing adultery, then you got to make the man whole for the woman, and you got to make the woman whole for the man. Otherwise, you can command all day long, and adultery will happen all day, all night, and in between. Well, this again is why Jesus said, this wicked and adulterous generation seeketh after a sign. How did we become an adulterous generation? Because as men, we are not complete for our women. And as women, you have not been complete for your husbands, for the men in your lives. So this lack of completeness, lack of full development, this lack produces dissatisfaction. And dissatisfaction in any marriage opens the door for adultery. You don't have to go looking for it. It will find you. And you will gladly entertain